All right, we are back again. This is the continuation of our talk about freedom. Our continuation to talk about freedom.
Absolutely.
We briefly, well, not even briefly, we extensively spoke
Absolutely.
on freedom as it related to, slavery and the mindset and the structure of slavery as it continues in our modern day life, from corporate America to just about anything. So so we're just gonna get into the rest of it, and first thing on our list is freedom mentally.
Mental freedom.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
What does that sound like? Hell, what does that feel like?
Absolutely.
These are the questions that I believe we should be asking ourselves when we talk about mental freedom. A lot of us attach labels to who we are, or a lot of us allow others to attach labels to who we are.
Yeah.
But to me, mental freedom means free from attachments.
Okay.
Whether they be labels you put on yourself or labels that others put on you.
Yep.
It's, for example, I don't like to be put or categorized. I've always been like that. Even when I was a kid, I hated to be categorized, and I never understood it like I do now. I don't like to be characterized, because when you're characterized, anytime that you act outside of that character, people tend to judge you because they believe you should stay within those bounds. Yep. So for me, true mental freedom is being able to detach from labels and boundaries, and being able to do and go and say and move as I please without bounds.
Right.
So yeah,
we talked about code switching in the last one. And, that relates
to me. Yeah,
to
absolutely, directly.
Yeah, to you walk into any environment, and if you feel the need to be someone else, that's a mental block.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we won't go back. We can.
It all ties in together. It won't hurt anything.
Yeah.
I think it does us good to go back, because that gives us a chance to give you examples. So, again, we're talking about mental freedom right now. And if you caught the last episode, we talked about code switching, like you stated. And a lot of us feel the need to switch the way we talk or the tone in which we speak when we get around people who do not look like us. And in the sense, that could be a mental bound, because it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting to have to flip who you are around certain environments in order to, mesh in a sense. Because for whatever reason, professionalism are seemingly whitewashed. If you're doing anything outside of the white version of professionalism, then you're not a professional. So we almost mentally feel like we have to in order to be taken seriously. And that can be mentally exhausting, therefore putting bounds on yourself.
I agree.
It's not true mental freedom, in my opinion.
And so how do we as a people, what are your ideas on how do we actually fix that? What would be the first step to becoming free mentally and fighting off those external strongholds?
Honestly, this kind of goes back to one of our older episodes, identity. Being comfortable with who you are and how you are. If you know who you are, nobody can make you be something else. Yeah. If that makes sense. Take Boosie, for example. I was talking about him with my wife earlier this morning. He is very much himself.
Oh, yeah.
Whether we like it or not, he is very him.
Right.
He's going to say what he feels. He's going to react how he feels. And in my opinion, he's probably mentally free in some aspects. So I think that us knowing who we are, being able to identify who we are and what we are, that kind of gives us the ability to feel like, hey, I don't have to dress it up for you. This is me. This
Right.
is how I am. If I saw Boosie on the street and Boosie was talking how Boosie talked, and some top executives walked up and Boosie kept talking how Boosie talks, nobody would be surprised, because Boosie is true to Boosie.
Right.
So I mean, I just feel like that really goes down to being true to your identity of who you are and what you stand for.
I agree. I often think about that. Like, what would it look like? Like, so I work at a corporate job, and of course, right now, this is how we talk. We cut up outside of it, and let's just say, I mean, there's of course different ways to handle yourself in different environments,
right?
But as far as your identity, it shouldn't change. One of my old coworkers, he was always himself, and I don't know if that's like a Louisiana thing or what. Maybe I don't know. It could be.
I mean, I think it's a personal thing, really, because I know people. My mom, for example, very true to herself. Anybody that knows my mom, they think that she's hilarious. My mom is a lot. Well, let me rephrase it. I'm a lot like my mom in my directness and in my unfilteredness. My mom has been like that since I got here. Okay, I'm 31. Yeah. My mom has been like that since I've gotten here. She has never changed the authenticity of who she is. Yeah. So like, she may be nicer, but she's still very direct. She's still very much gonna tell you what it is. You may be her boss. Right. You may be, the bishop of the church. She's still gonna tell you like it is. She's not gonna dress it up because you're a title. She's a very down to earth person, and regardless of your title, it's like she expects you to also be human, if that makes sense. Sure. So I can't say it's a Louisiana thing. I think it's a thing of a person being authentic in who they are. I think that's a version of freedom. That's something I've always loved about my mom, and that's something that I actually have myself. I'm very vocal about how I feel. I try to be very me, but I find myself code switching as well, because I find myself meshing with environments in order to be taken seriously.
You said something really great right there. And because I was just thinking of when you were talking about your mom, I was thinking of Andrew Tate.
Okay.
So Andrew Tate is very Tate. Okay. It's a lifestyle for him. And I'm thinking it's because of the roots. Because think of a child, right? Mm-hmm. Children learn behaviors. Okay.
Right.
And if you raised by your mom had that preset of, this is how I am, and I don't care who you are, you're going to hear what I have to say, and you're going to respect what I have to say, that's passed on to you. But somewhere down the line, you picked up code switching.
Yep.
Okay. Now, we'll get into where that part of the line was. Mm-hmm. But I think from my side, when I asked, how can we change it? How can we be more comfortable within ourselves? I think it comes from the upbringing.
Right.
You have to teach the youth this way. This is the right way to behave whenever you're around other people. Not the way that you think they will be accepted, which is what people teach.
Makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so when kids grow up, they normally, these are roots. These were implanted at a young age, and these kids take this throughout their whole life. So kids that were taught to say yes ma'am and no ma'am, they normally grow up and they keep that type of respect for other people.
Agreed.
And kids that weren't, you can tell. You can definitely tell. They calling their mom by their first name.
Yeah, I'm 31 and I ain't doing that. Mama still don't play that, okay?
Yeah. And so I think that's one way we can start. As soon as so it's not too late for adults. Let's go ahead and scrap that idea. It's not too late for you to start drawing the line for yourself. Everybody knows that they're gonna. Oh, well, I got bills to pay. I can't just walk up in there with cornrows and locks and try to be myself, because it's gonna have consequences. Okay, fine. It's too late for you. If you're gonna have that mindset, it is too late for you, but it's not too late for your kids. All right, because the kids are the ones that are gonna have the energy to push forward the agenda of progression. Now we have the knowledge, and we have to pass it down. Don't be a hypocrite. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to be a hypocrite
you
for
took
a
the
minute.
words out my mouth.
Yeah.
You can't be a hypocrite. So no, I'm gonna partly disagree. I agree, but I disagree.
Yeah.
You cannot be a hypocrite. In order for you to teach your child something, they have to believe you. If you don't even believe that you can walk around and be accepted the way you are, why would I listen to you telling me to go do that?
Right.
So I'm going to disagree. If you do that, you need to tell your kid, hey, I mean, you need to be honest. Hey, I was afraid to be myself.
Yep.
Here's why you should. Because if you don't, you'll end up like me, stuck.
Yep.
In so many words. For example, I go back to my parents. I use my parents a lot because, hey, they raised me. My mom was not a risk taker. She had lots of dreams, but she just wasn't a risk taker. I am my mom's wildest dreams. She's told me that. She's told me she's proud that I went and did the things that she was too afraid to do, including being on a live podcast. Like, my mom loves to talk, has a lot of good knowledge. Obviously, I get these things from somewhere, but I had the courage to get on live and say it. My mom loves to read and loves to write, but I had the courage to get out there and actually write the book. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you may have grown up in a time where it wasn't as acceptable like my mom did, and so she wasn't interested in pushing against the grain, whereas that fight is still in her. So when she had me, that fight is in me and it's heavy. So where you're afraid to push the grain, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not afraid to say those things. I'm not afraid of what might happen if I do, because I'm willing to push those limits to make change happen.
Right.
That's the difference. And I think that's key in actual change taking place. I can tell you all day, hey, we should. But if I'm not actually out here doing it, I can't ever expect it to take place. So I'm actually out here trying to do it so that I can see it take place. That way, when I have kids, I don't have to say, hey, when I was your age, I was kind of scared to get out there and do it. I can say, hey, when I was your age, I did that. You can do it too. Right. That's what I'm interested in. Right. And I think that the older generation who were afraid to, I think a lot of y'all did a good job of allowing your kids to just be themselves, because a lot of them were not allowed to be themselves growing up. So it's like, now I'm not going to hold my kids back, because my mom was like, hey, I didn't go off to school. I didn't do all of this other stuff, but I want to make sure y'all do all of that, because you should experience, you should explore. And I think that more parents should do that. That's how you make real change happen.
Absolutely. And so this is exciting because it's not groundbreaking by any means. I just think it's really good to remind people that we actually do have more control than we think we do.
Absolutely.
And creating your own futures is one thing that is not widely talked about in our community, because we're so busy trying to emulate someone else.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Ooh, you said something right there. We're so busy trying to emulate someone else. But think about that, guys. Think about social media. Think about real life. While we're out here emulating them from a professional standpoint, they're emulating everything we do from every other aspect. So why are we trying to be like them to fit in when they're being like us, not to fit in, but to still be in control?
Right.
We create dances, we create food, we create hairstyles, we're cold at sports, we're cold at music, and we get emulated all the time.
Yeah.
So why are we out here trying to be so professional and so code switchy in a world where they literally mock everything we do?
Oh yeah.
I think that warrants a conversation.
Oh yeah.
Why do we feel the need to switch codes for people who literally emulate us?
That's crazy, because the strength is in the mirror, right? Because you have to, we talk about identity, but really, you look in the mirror and you should see your strength, okay, which is yourself. But somehow, like you're saying, we are copied, and for some sick reason, we're thinking that we're trying to be someone else. So that mirror that we're supposed to be looking at is just glass. Man. And we're looking through and we're seeing other people.
Right.
Okay. And we've lost the identity in this whole social media world. And I was thinking of that because there's no reason that every little black boy, okay, is only dreaming of being an athlete or a rapper. You know what I mean? Or like, just say musician in general, or athlete to musician. There's no reason that, let's say DISD, right? Mm-hmm. I would love to have like some sort of controlled census to see what these kids think of their futures.
I mean, you know what? I've had those same thoughts and ideas, and I think that's a good starting place because at the end of the day, the children are the future. Like, I know that's so cliche to say, but that's like legit.
Yeah.
We are currently raising the future generation that will be running this country and running this world in, a decade or two. So it's vital that we teach them and rear them and understand them so that we can prepare them for whatever is to come. I mean, we don't know what's to come, but we can pretty much guesstimate because history repeats itself.
Yeah.
But if we're not out here trying to figure out what it is that they want, what it is that they want to see, we're too busy out here doing what we feel is best. I think that's selfish in a sense because it's in my opinion, it mirrors what is happening to us. We have all of these super older, generation of people making decisions that they won't be here to actually see.
Yep.
I think that is asinine.
Yeah.
But that is policy that is common, right? That's normal here. You have 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds making decisions that won't have an impact for another 5 to 10 years, which they may or may not be here to even see.
Right.
But you have people that are in their 20s and 30s and teens who actually will be impacted, who actually will be out here in the workforce, who will actually be out here, waiting for retirement. You have people like that who don't have a say-so or not making moves or don't have any input on what things look like going forward. I think that is asinine. I think that all starts with us being more active in the community from a youth standpoint.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you said that because I was just writing this down that the scope. Okay, so kids need to see past their environment. They need to be introduced to other worlds.
Things. Absolutely,
yeah, because exposure. Who's gonna expose these kids to anything? It's us. It's the parents. Take your kids. And this is me by no means telling you how to parent your child, but when it comes to these kids only wanting to be athletes and musicians, that's because that's the only thing they see. Okay, I think it was Dr. Umar Johnson was like, "Oh yeah, you know why it's like this is because back in the day, you did have black doctors in the neighborhood, and you did have black carpenters and black." Other professions, and they all lived in the same neighborhood. But somehow, throughout time, everybody wanted to move out the hood. As soon as they made it, you moved out. All the role models moved out, right? And they're trying to fit in with these, said other cultures when they could be the impression to actually straighten up and help mentor these kids. That's why they're lost. They don't have any role models. Their role models are on TV. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, to go back a little further with what you just said, I think that we also have to remember that there was a time where we were trying to mimic the white man.
Oh, yeah.
You mimic the professionalism to fit in. So, in the same breath of saying, these people shouldn't have left the hood, they probably didn't know or understand the importance of them staying in the hood, the importance of them having these communities. We're now watching the product of that. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Those guys that he's talking about, they probably dead. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They're not even here to see the effects of not staying in those communities. That's why I said it's important to start young.
Yeah.
Because if you wait until it's too late and those people have moved out and then, the community starts to fall, by the time it actually falls, all them people that you're trying to blame, they gone, they dead.
Right.
So we're pointing the blame at people for what? That's pointless at this point.
Yep.
We're at the point, in my opinion, where we need to just do something about it. We know it's a problem. Cool. You don't want people to move out of the hood, make the hood a better place to live.
Absolutely.
I don't want to live in the hood.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to lie to you. What is the hood offering me?
Yep.
Not safety.
No.
Not when I'm hearing gunshots all night. That's not safe.
Yeah.
You're not offering me anything. So that's why I preach community. It starts with us. We steady point at other people.
Yeah.
We got to create the safe communities. These are our communities that we live in, that we work in. that we're shooting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the police does their thing, but so do we.
Yeah,
when are we
absolutely.
going to be held accountable for what we do? We can handle the police too, but we also got to make sure we're doing our part. And that's where I feel like we are lacking as a people.
Absolutely.
We have to get more involved from a community aspect, because if you don't, you'll continue to create people who are mentally unstable. They
Yeah.
don't see an environment that's healthy. If I've never seen a healthy living in the hood, why would I aspire to live in the hood?
Right.
But I'm driving past Lake Highlands and I'm driving past Mansfield and Plano and McKinney, and I'm seeing all this niceness and well-kept neighborhoods, and ain't no trash on the grounds, and it's not potholes everywhere. Why would I want to stay over here when I can move over there where it look better?
Right.
Well, that starts with us. We got to treat the community better. We throwing trash outside because you don't care.
Right.
Driving any kind of way on the roads. That's us.
Yeah.
Who we gonna blame for that? We gonna just say the city ain't fixing the roads, and if they do come fix them, you gonna mess them back up. And if you don't mess them up, they're gonna make the rent high enough to where you can't afford to live up here. They're gonna put some people over here that's gonna take care of the community.
Right.
So where are we going to start? When are we going to step up?
That's right. That's 100% right. And
That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows the phrase. It takes a village to raise a child, and it really does, because you have to. Kids are dumb. Let's just when it comes to life, they're dumb. Okay, they're just ignorant because they just don't know the effects. They don't think of long-term effects of their decisions. All right, and that's what adults are supposed to be there for. Hey, I'm protecting you from your dumb self. Okay, so don't kick in the door to somebody's house because your friend saw it on TV. Okay, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna get shot. You're gonna get something that you don't want. And now, we just keep passing that down. There's no way that everybody, or not everybody, that some people think it's okay, mentally and spiritually, to steal and kill your own people. There's no way. No sensible person would think that that's okay. You have to. These are effects from something.
Right. I mean, of course. I'll say it like this, and I'm going to use a different word. I'm going to say primitive, okay? Children, they're very primitive. They just got here, okay? Yeah. They don't know how to be here. They know how to do things, but they don't know how to be here. And that's why children do things like run in the road, because they are truly free, energetic beings. They have no sense of responsibility. They have no sense of anything. The only sense that they have at this moment is, I can do whatever I want to.
Yep.
I can just do things. Let me see how this works. They're new here. They just got here. So it's our job to guide them, not necessarily control them, because that's what a lot of parents do. Your job is to guide them. That includes rearing them. That includes giving them resources. That includes creating safe spaces. Yep. That starts at home.
Yep.
That's the community. That's you and me. That's us. We can't expect people to make, or children to make, decisions when they don't even know how to rationalize emotions. Yep. We can't expect children to make decisions when we got grown-ups who still have issues making decisions because nobody guided them. This all goes back to community. Yep. We have to be the ones making the difference. We have to be the ones out here providing avenues. And I kind of want to go back to where you talked about jobs in the community and how carpenters and welders and all this stuff was in the community. There used to be a point where you could get those types of certifications in grade school. That's not an option anymore. So again, we can go back to the conversation from last episode where we talked about the systematic system in place that's not designed for us. So if you have a massive amount of Black students taking these classes and getting certified and putting themselves in positions to get their family ahead, why in the world would I allow that to stay in schools when the system is designed to make sure you go to jail after this? I'm going to pull those programs. Now the only way you can get trade school programs is if you outsource. We're not providing this in school, okay? Yep. It ain't free no more. We're not giving you nothing for free anymore.
Yep.
Now, mind you, when it was in school, you had teachers being paid to do this by the government. Now that you pull that out, who gonna teach these classes? Because they're not gonna do it for free. Cool, I'll teach the class, but you need to pay me. Well, boom, my family ain't got that kind of money.
Mm.
My family, we hustlers. My family, we on the block. We don't got that kind of money. We struggling to make ends meet. I don't have time to be trying to hustle up no money for no welding class when I got food that needs to be on the table and I got rent due and the lights out. That's not in my thinking. My thinking is how I'm gonna get some money for my family.
Right.
If we don't give people options, we can't expect them to not take extreme measures. At the end of the day, this is still survival of the fittest. We still live in a circle and cycle of life.
Yeah.
So we got to be honest with ourselves. The reason why those programs were taken is because they wanted to remove the options of success. Mm-hmm. Why would I give you an option to be successful when I created a system that was not designed to make you successful?
Oh, yeah.
Why would I do that? So, yeah, they pulled those programs out. And the people that would offer those classes outside of school, they're going to charge you.
Oh, yeah.
And you ain't going to be able to afford it. And the people that can afford it don't look like us.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? So it sucks. It really does, because there was a period where you could, like you said, you could walk in the neighborhood and it would be electricians and plumbers and carpenters and anything you needed. You could find it in the neighborhoods.
Yep.
Until you couldn't.
And you know what's funny is those types of professions are those where you work for yourself. Absolutely.
You are a entrepreneur. You have your own business. You are your own boss.
Yep. That means you're free.
Why would I you took the words right out of my mouth. Why would I let you be free?
Yeah.
Please.
Yep.
Come on.
I can't let you walk out of here and have your own skills. I need you to still be in the system and wait on someone to hire you and work for 8 hours, just like you sat for 8 hours. And then, when they won't hire you, oh, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Try harder.
Not my problem.
Yeah.
Basically. Not my problem. And I think that's the part that people need to understand. I think we've talked about this in previous episodes, but I'm going to bring it back up. A lot of people, a lot of children don't know they have other options. I was one of those kids. I knew about doctors, lawyers, dentists, judge, athlete, your typical police officers. I knew those jobs. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about all these other things you could do. I was open to the possibilities when I went to college. That's how my major changed. That's how my thought process changed, because I was given options.
Yep.
A plethora of options. I was given a few options growing up, but it was the same options.
Right.
Teacher, everybody just knew I was going to be a teacher. Hell, I thought I was going to be a teacher, but I am a teacher, just in a different way. But I thought I was going to be a grade school teacher. But like I said, going to college, exploring and experiencing things, thought I was going to be a pediatrician. No thanks. This is my lane. Educating people, speaking, like this is what I'm good at. This is what I enjoy. But I wouldn't have known that I wouldn't even known that this was a lane had I not ventured off to school and saw all these options.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that is really, the community. Like, they used to have career day, I guess. I never had that at my school, but the most people that come in is doctors, lawyers, firefighters, same types of people. Yeah. If I don't know what's out there, I'm not gonna choose it if I don't know it exists. You know what I mean?
Or worse off, the military comes to your school.
Oh yeah, they was up there recruiting like no man's business. They was up there all the time. Like, I damn near thought they worked at the school.
Oh yeah, it's crazy though. They recruit soldiers, right? And I didn't know this until I got to the military. There's a whole other side. There's a smart side and there's a strong side. Okay, I'll just say it that way.
Oh.
Okay, so I went to the Navy. There's an enlisted side, which is the soldier side, and there's an officer side, which is like the supervisor
paperwork
side. Yeah. They don't get dirty. I'm not gonna say all officers, but for the most part, they're always the ones that get saluted, and those are the ones that you got to go to college to be an officer, and you got to do all that. They don't tell you about that at the recruiting station.
No, why would I do that?
Right. And I just wondered, I was like, wow, why did I not know about this until I got here?
Yeah. I think I found out about that through friends. So I had two types of friends. I had the friends that went to the military right out of school, and I had the friends that went to the military after they graduated college. Those that went right out of school, they, went through their 4 years, either decided to, re-enlist or left, got the little GI, went to school. Cool. Then decided whether or not they wanted to go back to the military or if they just wanted to be a civilian. Then you got the other ones who were completely civilians, graduated, decided to go off to the military, and came in as an officer.
Yep.
And they told me that, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, I got a degree. I came in as an officer.
Higher pay off the bat.
And that's literally what they said. It was like, yeah, I get paid high, like more than a lot of the people that's been here for some years. And I'm like, what the hell? And they literally said to me, yeah, you should do it. And it crossed my mind very briefly, and it went away because I'm not about that life. I don't do push-ups. I'm not going to make nobody's time. I'm going to always fail the physical therapy test. Yeah, so no. And I don't like people yelling at me. I'm sensitive, so if you yell at me, I'm going to probably start crying because I'm mad that I probably can't cuss you out, but I can. Like, I want to cuss you out. Right. So, yeah. And then my daddy went to the military, and he told me, yeah, that's not for you. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. It's not for everybody. So shout out to those that did and those that tried.
Yeah, you're fighting for a free country, as we talked about freedom. But
that's funny.
Yeah.